What is up? Wow, I checked my throat to see if I had a cough before I spoke, and I didn't until I turned the camera on. Anyways, what's up, bros, bears, muscle mommies, and everything in between? As always, this is Patrick, Full Primal Power, your mom's favorite powerlifter, top 50 powerlifter of all time. We are about 8 weeks out from the American Pro 3, where we will change that top 50 of all time to hopefully top 10. What we got going on today, we are on our way to bench press today. We've got a mid undulation. So the way that my programming goes when I'm in peak is it's a hyper frequent undulation. So every week I have either an up or a down undulation. And you can already see I said mid undulation for today. So when you go a full step up, you don't take a full step down. You take a half step down. So when you're deloading, you are deloading the volume you're doing. Oh shit. Shifting my car to neutral. So 2 weeks ago, I did 525 for like 4 or 5 sets of 2. Today what we've got is 515 for 2 sets of 2 and 495 for a set of 2. So that sounds very deloady, but we're keeping the weight high and the volume low so that the musculature can recover, not increase the amount of inflammation going on, so that we don't have to do as much muscular recovery and really only have to focus on central nervous system recovery, because those are the two biggest variables when it comes to peaking, outside of the generic, like, am I rested enough? Am I getting enough rest, sleep, water, food, that stuff. So it's for like 90% of the population, the only things that you consider is your muscle recovery and central nervous system recovery, and how you are priming each of those to be at your peak performance on meet day. So, well, what am I thinking of? So you can get away with a lot more undulated, a lot more frequent undulations with squats, or more aggressive undulations rather, because squat takes a whole lot more out of your central nervous system than bench does. Bench is playing not even just the tip. It's like just how far. I can't do that analogy because we're too early in the YouTube video for what I actually want to say. YouTube algorithm and all that. But let's say just the uncut. That, I hate that phrasing, but that's what it is. Where, yeah, you are getting a little bit of CNS fatigue going on, but it's more muscular. There's way more muscular injuries when it comes to bench press, especially at the high level, than there is when it comes to squats or deadlifts. And a lot of the guys who are getting squat injuries are way higher level squat wise than they are bench wise. These will be guys who are squatting 800, 900 pounds with mid 400, maybe a 500 pound bench, maybe lower 500s. So once you get up towards where I'm at, where it's mid 600s, that's one of the variables that we got to consider a little bit heavier, is how recovered are our muscles, how are we feeling, especially in these connective areas near the armpits, where you go from like really thick and meaty chest pectoral muscles to the outer edges where you've got like the pec minor, you've got the biceps. There's I feel like there's a bicep term, something brachialis, but you've got all these tendons going on, and you can really push your chest muscles a lot further than you can the smaller muscles, and it's really the smaller muscles that get you into trouble. So a lot of the accessory movements that I have to do is going to end up being like stabilizer stuff and smaller muscle group stuff, where it's not necessarily going to be the big flashy tricep extension, close grip JM press whatever that's going to make my triceps look like boulders, because they already are. I've done a whole lot of that. Sorry, I'm trying to censor myself for the censors online. What the muscle groups that top level, not squatters, benchers tend to tear is those really small muscles and the ligaments, because you don't want to ever outpace the progression of your ligaments, because you can grow your muscles really fast, especially with aid. You can grow your tendons and ligaments not as fast. So if you grow your muscles faster and increase your strength faster than your ligaments and tendons have been able to keep up with, that's when you get into a lot of trouble. That's when you get full tears. So trying to avoid that. I don't know why we're talking about this, because generally I don't like to think about any sort of injury. Like, people will be like, oh, have you seen this gym video? And I'm like, fuck no. Yeah, we're far enough in the video that I can actually say that. I'm like, no, I don't watch gym fail videos. And I don't like the bad juju that comes with it. I don't like to think about injuries, because when you're under a bar, the last thing you want to think about is getting injured. The first thing you want to think about is what you're going to do the second after you hit it. It's almost like you're preparing for your celebration before you actually do it. So, all of that good jazz. So, I'm about 30 minutes earlier than I usually am getting to the gym, because I actually got a good night's sleep last night. Amazing what difference in your body, in your biomarkers. My biomarkers were out of this world last night. After I got a good night's sleep. So what I did, other than getting to bed at a respectable time, because yesterday was a rest day, and I hit all my mandatories, and I was like, peace out, boys, and I just went to bed. So I took one of those, oh no, my house is flooding and I need to move the water away from everywhere towards the door fans, and I propped it up on a cat tower, and I had it blowing at an angle above my bed. So I was getting airflow, not too aggressive of airflow, but enough that like things were good. And like where I live, we've got central AC, but I live in the basement. And when the upstairs people turn on the central AC or the heat or whatever, it hits my section first, because the first outlet is like in my area. So I get either wicked hot or wicked cold. Never comfy. So right now we're in the middle of September, because these videos don't come out on time literally ever. Just kidding, sometimes they come out all the time, just not right now. But it's been like mid 80s, but the upstairs people are like, we're gonna turn the heat on, and I'm like, I'm dying. And so the fan setup was clutch. But I just got to the gym, so I'll give you guys the rundown of why is there a random gap. Why are there random gas cans? What is going on there? Anyways, I'm gonna go bench now, and I'll give you guys the rundown with my post-lifting commentary. See you guys there. All right, homies. We had ourselves a bench day. Now, today's bench day, where it's kind of like when you go out with your homies to the bar, and sometimes they land on the landmine, sometimes you land on the landmine for the homie's sake. But this time, the duff that you ended up with, so that your homie could bring home the absolute smoke show, was still a 7 at best. So today was not the best, but not the worst day. It, I don't want to say deload-y, but we are developing some inflammation, and it's starting to rear its head a little bit, especially in the sensitive areas that I mentioned earlier. The the shoulder joint area, where you've got a lot of tendons and ligaments that connect the pecs to the arms and the biceps and all that fun stuff, that's got a bit of inflammation. And it did rear its head during bench today. Usually when that happens, my bench descent slows way the fuck down, and my touch position gets more and more guillotined. And neither of those things are good, especially when you want to be lifting as heavy as possible, because the longer you're under tension, the longer your muscles are firing, and they can only fire at a certain percentage for so much time, which is why reps burn out eventually. So we started the day off with a new stretching protocol that coach is having me do, where we do this thing with the band and a bar and a power cage, and it's supposed to stretch out the shoulder girdle, and then we've got some YTWs. I don't know why I keep thinking A. It's not an A. YTWs, thumbs up, and external rotations. I didn't do it in that order for no reason. I was gonna skip the YTWs, but I just didn't want to get on the ground, and I did anyway, so I just did it out of order. And then we moved on to not warming up, the muscle priming work, not pre-fatigue, where we've got an iso hold into 0 acceleration reps, and we did 4 sets of that. First set was a little meh, second set a little bit better, and by the fourth set we had the positioning of everything pretty good, that we weren't feeling any of the inflammation in the shoulder girdle that we were feeling before, and we were able to get really good mind muscle connection going, which was perfect for setting up for a bench day. Then we moved on to warm-ups. We did our normal warm-up jumps of 1.5 plates every single time, and so we started with the bar, set of 10, 185 set of 6, 315 for a set of 4, and then 455 for a set of 2. Now, the 455 was where the inflammation started to rear its head. Around 405 is where I find that bar whip comes into play on bench press. And the more and more you get up, the more and more bar whip you experience. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But what's going on is the inflammation mixed with that whip is making things go slower and slower and slower, because you have to slow down for the bar whip. You've got to slow down for the inflammation. But it's only the first rep that slows down, and it's been a problem for the past almost decade that I haven't been able to solve, and I haven't had a coach that's been able to figure it out. But hopefully, eventually, Joe's going to be able to figure it out, and we're going to be able to blast through some plateaus that develop. We are at a plateau right now, and breaking through the first rep slowness isn't going to break through it. But we jumped up from 455 to 515. The first set, I felt like I nippled myself or guillotined myself, where the touch position was a little too high. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm not bloated right now. I'm sitting at 360, but I did just lose 10 pounds and then put 10 pounds back on over the course of a week and a half, because allergy season popped up. And I am struggling a little bit with food consumption because the allergies are so bad. I'm not getting all of the symptoms right now, but my digestive system is not really agreeing with a lot of the high protein stuff that I'm eating, and I'm having to forego some of the sources of carbs that I've been consuming, such as my chicken and rice meal. I'm supposed to have 240 grams of chicken and 400 grams of rice. I can barely get down 100 grams of chicken and 200 grams of rice right now, so that's not a good thing to be going on. So I elected today to do a liquid lunch instead of the solid food. Now, in the past, I've had the exact same thing happen. And I'm like, I don't want to cheat on this diet. I want to do it A-okay, perfect. So let me just throw what I'm going to eat in a blender. Boys, ladies, gentlemen, do not do that. Blaine Sumner and Derek Poundstone are unique life beings where they can blend up their chicken, steak, whatever they feel like, and consume that as a drink. I, however, discovered that I am not about that life. I discovered when you put a source of protein with a source of carbs with a bunch of water in a blender. Have y'all ever tried to eat your own vomit before? Or have you ever had a vivid experience of what that texture is coming out of you? Now, that is exactly what blended chicken and rice feels like. It doesn't taste like that because you don't have the bile in there too. I know a lot of you are eating, so I apologize. Not really. You guys are doing it the right way, the smart way. But yeah, that is the texture of blended chicken and rice. Don't do that. So I have the next best thing, which is Redcon 1 MRE. Redcon 1 MRE, probably my favorite. It's technically a mass gainer shake, but it goes less of let's just get random fucking calories in you, and it goes let's get quality calories in you. You probably can't eat stuff, so let's dehydrate all of this stuff, make it powder form, add some flavor to it so that you can actually get it down, and here you go. It does have a little bit of a chalkiness texture to it, but the protein sources, so it's got chicken protein, pea protein, rice protein, potato protein, or I don't know if it has pea protein, a lot of really good stuff in there. Basically, it's basically a chicken dinner powdered in a protein shake. I do have to consume it with Fairlife milk because when you do it with water, it sucks. So you should 100% drink it with milk. But that's what I elected to do. I didn't do a full serving because a full serving fills up an entire shaker cup. So I did half of a serving so that I could, have some liquids in there with my powder. And that's what I had for lunch. And instead of my 240 grams of chicken and 200 grams of rice. So how did I get off track there? So the first 1x2 of 515, I touched it a little high, so I changed the camera angle. And I brought the camera angle a little different so that I could see the touch position a little bit more. Bonus for you bears out there, you can also see my nipple a little bit better. Congrats, you got something to wank to. So I looked at it and I was able to think a little bit more while I was doing the movement. And it's not that the touch position is bad per se. I'm touching in the right position. It's just the coming down, it's the spot that I'm touching is like collapses is I don't know if that's the right term. I'm touching in the right spot, but it's also the wrong spot at the same time, which sounds really stupid, but it's actually what's happening. So in this case, in this matter, basically what I want to be looking for is if I'm touching as far out as I can, I need to make sure that my elbows are in the correct position. Because if your elbows get in front of, get behind the bar, you dump the bar on yourself. You don't want to do that. So you want your elbows in front of the bar as much as possible so you can get that power through your triceps. You don't want your elbows flaring early because that'll take everything and throw it into your rotator cuffs, and that's going to snap something. So I just made sure that my elbows were in the correct position, and I did some extra long pauses to kind of be a therapeutic, like stretch things out a little bit. And also, if Trevor Haffey is judging bench at the American Pro, it'll be like a 5-second pause anyways. So gotta be prepared for that just in case, instead of complaining about it like some people do. But and then we dropped down to 495. That moved way better, the difference of 20 pounds. And yeah, and then we moved on to the accessories. We did incline dumbbell shoulder press. I took a new angle with this to show basically how I'm trying to get the touch position as close to my bicep as possible, and kind of, I guess it's not a proof of concept, but a proof of compliance, I guess, to that concept. And then we moved on to the dumbbell incline skull crushers, same angle. Basically showing I'm trying to get as much range of motion as possible. So I do cheat up on the bench so that I can get the dumbbells past the top of the bench. And you're able to see that pretty well in the video. And then we finished off, we didn't finish off with that. We moved on to cable flies, supersetted with close grip push-ups. Those got a pretty good pump. I was able to get a pretty good stretch through the pecs. Good, I just said it, good stretch through the pecs. And, not incline, close grip push-up. It is what it is. And yeah. And then we finished up with dumbbell curls, and I felt like I got a really good mind-muscle connection with the bicep peaks, and I got a pretty good pump, nice hypoxic response while going through those. And then I checked the Fitbit. We were at 9,600 steps, which means my miscellaneous walking to my house while I cook my dinner is going to fill out my 10,000 steps for the day. So I didn't have to hop on the treadmill for all of 5 minutes because I was going to get it anyways. So pretty good, pretty bread and butter, no dusty cinnamon, no cinnamon sugar on top. We didn't throw it in the toaster or anything. It's just bread and butter. Bench day where it's nothing fantastic, nothing bad. It was just, we did it, we got the stimulus, and I sent my coach the videos, and he hasn't been online in almost 12 hours. So I mean, I'll get his response when I get it. It's not like I need it immediately, and that's one of the things you got to consider when you have a online coach is you're going to send stuff to them, and not every time they're going to respond immediately. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And you can't really rely on that because, I mean, first of all, my coach is in a different time zone than me, and they also have other things that are going on. They have other clients to take care of. If they're like me and they have a full-time job, there's that. But at the end of the day, they will respond. A good coach will respond to you by the end of the day. Or if you message them while they're sleeping in the morning, as soon as possible, basically, is what I'm saying. Full-time coaches will get back a little bit faster, but I don't know what my coach is doing. But I know he's going to respond by the time I wake up. So I'm going to go eat. I'm going to get some food in me, as light of a dinner as I can manage. And hopefully the digestion goes well. That is a thing that you have to consider when you are heavily, not intoxicated, but IBS'd, gastrointestinally challenged, such as myself. A while back I had a herniated disc the size of a golf ball, and the doctors were like, go on 800 ibuprofen every day I was on it for 8 months. And yeah, I have not been able to eat the same since. And that was 8 years ago. My digestion hasn't been the same since. I've been able to eat the same since. And my bowel movements, I guess. I have IBS because of it. So doctors don't know everything. They're trying to address symptoms. One of the doctors was like, "Oh, the surgery doesn't work," or no, PT doesn't. A PT told me PT doesn't work for herniated discs. You should just get the surgery. And I was like, no, I want to try the PT to get work. They just stuck me on a stim pad for an hour, and then they were like, "All right, go home." I was like, "You just iced me while you did stim work. That doesn't do shit for herniated discs." And then my homie Dwayne Kyoto out of Portland DM'd me, Dr. Kyoto. He's also has a YouTube channel where he's giving out PT advice. Really good stuff. He's a wizard. Every time that I've had anything wrong, he's been like, do this. And I'm like, magical. And yeah, so he gave me a couple of exercises to do every day. I was fully compliant with those, and no more herniated disc. I even went to an orthopedic surgeon about right before the meet where I missed a 960 squat due to depth, and they were like, you don't have a herniated disc anymore. And I was like, whoa, we just did what that other PT said was impossible. Surgery-free herniated disc recovery. A+ Dwayne, A+ Patrick. You're strong as fuck, boys. But yeah, I'm gonna go eat, and hopefully I'm not gonna puke while I sleep, because that's never fun. You just wake up and your tummy leaks, and you're like, am I gonna? Okay, fine. And you like hobble over to the toilet, and you're like, bleh. Yeah. And then you're like, that was the texture of blended chicken and rice. I'm out of here. I'm done with my mindless rambling. Bye-bye. Bye out.